I'll be with you in 1 second. Hello, everybody. It is Monday. Chance is here, making his presence known. Sorry, crawling around under the table is not cool. However, it's the way it is. Oh, it's good to see you guys. It is cool here today. Oh, come here. All right, come here and be quiet. Oh, goodness. Hello. Chance is here. He's being a pain. As usual, we wouldn't know what to do if he weren't. It's good to see you guys. Hi, Jinx, also known as Rhonda, Linda, and Tim, Kel, Dana, hello, hello. Hi, Terry. Hi, Dar. What else? Linda Patrick, hello, hello. You girls here. I know, right? It's not to be avoided. He will not be avoided. Hi, Stacy. Yeah, he will not be avoided. He's just a tromper. He tromps everywhere on my desk, don't you? Yep. I've been rushing around so I'm warm, although it is really chilly here today, which is fine. But it's better than burning up. Hello, Sandy. Good to see you. Hi, Skinny Cat Carrie. Good to see you. Haven't seen you for a while. I'm glad you're here. Hello, Linda. Yeah, hubby says bedtime. You got to go to bed. I know. I'm amazed that you come here at all at this time of night. Chance, you got to leave me alone, buddy. So, he is just insistent on being patted. Insistent on being patted. He wants his head patted. He makes it especially challenging for this to be a no drama zone. Yes, he does. If I don't want to pat you, I don't want to pat you, okay? He says, nope, not okay. Anyway, I really, really don't want to pat you. I really don't. I really, really, really don't want to pat your head. So he'll pat his own head against my body. He is such. Yeah, that's what it was. It was 40 here today. It was cold. I mean, it was one of those bone-chilling colds. He is just rubbing his head all over everything. And we have to get going, because if you don't get off of here, I can't do what I need to do tonight. Okay? You don't care, do you? He's laying on the ironing surface. I'll show you where he is. See? He's on my quilting ironing surface. Isn't that sweet? Where I want to work, that's where he is. And he hound wounds, except he cat wounds. He goes round and round and he rubs his head on me. Hey, Marion. Hi, Peggy. Good to see you guys. Good to have you here. Okay, will you get off? Let's put you in the other room. Wayside. Hmm? There you go. All right. I have to go back in there shortly, so it's just a short-term solution. Anyway, so what I'm doing, and I didn't start soon enough, because I was talking to my sweet son this afternoon, and we were having a great conversation, and so I just kept talking to him. I'm going to show you what I've done, and then we'll talk as we get going. I'm still having a little trouble with my throat from this latest crazy allergy thing that I experienced, thanks to Chance. Thank you, Chance. What I've done is I have fused a bunch of small pieces, mostly rectangles and some squares, mostly rectangles, of different fabrics that are mostly in the red and green and off-white kind of theme. And I fused those to Wonder Under, which is a paperback fusible web. So what I'm going to do real quickly here is I'm going to cut these apart. So a paperback fusible web, there's a whole class on the website about different kinds of fusibles. Let's see if I can get my hand in a less awkward position. There are different kinds of fusible webs. Some are meant to be, or are okay. No, I was right the first time. They're meant to be stitched through. They all... Have you ever seen anybody cut with scissors like this? I learned this a long time ago. That when your hand is in a weird position, that you could actually reposition the scissors and you didn't have to turn. When you can't get to the other side of the table or whatever, you can actually cut with scissors by turning them upside down and cutting backwards. I know. Weird trivia. Anyway, paperback fusible web, for some, has paper on two sides. This is Wonder Under, very super inexpensive by most standards. Runs about $5 a yard. But there's paper on one side, fusible, which is a heat-activated glue, on the other side. So this has paper. I've fused the wrong side of the fabric down to the glue side of the fusible. The paper's on only on the one side on this one. On some, there is paper on two sides, which is good for some things. There are some fusibles that will gum up the needle of your sewing machine. There are some fusibles that don't gum up the needle of your sewing machine. You're going to pay more, usually, generally speaking, for the ones that don't gum up a sewing machine needle. In this case, it isn't going to matter because we're not, at least I don't think we're going to stitch this, but I'm not positive. If I were really paying careful attention to what I was doing, I would use an old pair of scissors instead of my good Ginger shears, which is what these are. This is a German scissor. Ginger is the brand. This is called a scissor bell that's on here, which is obnoxious. I'll probably just take it off. Otherwise, it'll drive everybody, including me, crazy. The reason for a scissor bell is it keeps they're not widely available. So you can tell your scissors from everybody else's, especially when you go to a quilting or fabric class of some kind. A lot of people will have Ginger shears, and so it's good that you have your scissors identified in some way. And if anybody picks up my scissors with the scissor bell on it, there's not much doubt that they've got your scissors. Anyway, I bought those years and years and years ago. I went to a convention in Houston. It was a quilting, there were two parts to it. There was the market and the festival. The market was wholesale, and so I went to help somebody with her booth. And slopped some fusible on the top of this particular fabric. Let's see if I can scrape it off. So anyway, when I went to the market, you were allowed to buy samples. And so I was fascinated with the scissor bells because they were, I don't know where the bell came from. It's an unusual bell, and it had a pretty pleasant sound. But it's a little different in the way it's a pearl finish. It has a pretty pleasant sound, and then these holders were hand braided. Anyway, they're pretty cool. But after a while, you get sick and tired of listening to them. Yeah. So I have a whole bunch of fused pieces here that I'm just going to cut apart, and then we're going to finish fusing, hopefully, enough of the other. I almost got it done, but just didn't quite make it. Because like I said, I was talking on the phone to my sweet son, and I couldn't not talk to him. Because I wanted to. And I knew you guys would understand. Anyway, this is going to be pre-fused fabric, and then we're going to use this. This is, what we're going to do is inspired, and I don't know how far we'll get. And by the way, I will not be here on Friday. So the next time I will be back on the air will be a week from today. Okay? And so I will not be here streaming on Friday. So you can spread the word. If anybody wants to know if I'm sick, no, I'm not. I just won't be here that day. I'm going to be out of town. So my schedule, as I've said before, is a little unpredictable right now. Kind of in and out. And I appreciate your patience and understanding that I get to do some of these things that I haven't been able to do in a really super long time. Anyway, so this is inspired from an article in the Somerset Magazine Holiday Edition. And there are some cards in there, some Christmas cards that are made using paper. But I decided I have much more fabric than I have Christmas paper. And of course, this gave me a chance to go to the nice fabric store today and buy a few more pieces because don't you know, you don't pass up a chance to buy some fabric. So what I'm doing on this is I'm just trimming off the exposed fusible web. And that has this all together. These pieces are done. Okay? And one of the things that I've done on this particular piece, I love this because it's printed with a bias check, and you don't normally see that. It's normally done straight, but this is printed with a bias. I love that. I like having this little strip of the identification because that can work into this. And also this with the, this is the sample of the inks, or the, I don't know if it's a dye process or an ink process they use on this fabric, but this is their sample, and I thought that was cute. Anyway, so we're gonna have those done. So I have this stuff. It's all pre-fused, and if you want to do this, it's going to be a whole lot easier if you pre-fuse it than to make it as you go. So we're gonna, hello Barbara and Sheila and anybody else, Suzanne, anybody else that I missed. Hello, hello, hello. Hi Connie. Thank you for being here. So as I said, this is Wonder Under that I'm using, and I'm going to go ahead and cut some of this, a little of this apart, so it's not quite as unwieldy to use. I hope you guys are having a good day today. I have had a great day today. I got to spend time with one of my super closest friends. We had a very long coffee today, very long. We get together usually once a week, and today was a super long get together and visit. It needs to be fused a little bit more, so we'll leave it over here. So that was really super nice. And then I got to talk to my son, also indeed super nice. Once this section is fused and I can cut it apart, that'll be excellent, excelente. All right, so I have fused this fairly well, okay? And now I'm going to turn the whole thing over, and this is an applique pressing sheet. It's non-stick. It is a silicone, I would imagine. And if you get any of the fusible on it, you do need to take the time to run your hands over the mat and see if you have any fusible on it. If you do, it will roll off, but it's not going to come off by itself. Okay, so you do want to take the time to check it before you iron on top of the surface. So I'm going to fuse from the wrong side. So I have this mat down against my ironing surface. I have my iron already on. So I fused it from the top already, and now I'm going to fuse it from the back. You do have to keep track of where the glue is when you're working with a fusible web. You got to know where the glue is. If you don't keep track of that, you will be very sorry, because you will glue something to something like your ironing board, to the bottom of your iron, you know, to something that you do not mean to do, and that's no good. Okay, no good. All right, so I'm going to peel this off, and if you can take the time to let your silicone mat cool, it will peel off much more easily, but I rarely give it time, you know, rarely. So I'm going to then move my strip of fabric and fusible down and fuse it a little bit more. Then we're going to cut it into pieces. I know. It's like quilting. It's just like quilting. You start out with nice big pieces of fabric. You cut it up. You sew them back together. Makes all kinds of sense, doesn't it? I know. And I'm having to use the floor as my ironing board. Yes. Okay, so maybe you can see right here. See that fuzzy stuff right there? That's the fusible web that has come off the sheet. So if you just let it cool enough that you can handle it, it will roll off. You can roll it off, and then your mat is still clean. Okay, and if you get it stuck on the front of your fabric, as long as you scrape it back off, hopefully without ironing it again, it will come off your fabric. Ideally, you just, whoop, what happened here? One of my cameras just blipped out on me. Okay. I'm assuming that my host camera is that going to work? Nope, it's frozen. Okay, excellent. Excellent. Okay, then we will just use what we have at our disposal. Let me restart. I'll be right back. I'm going to restart the camera that shoots my face. Nope, it is not going to cooperate tonight, so we're going to have to punch. Give me just a second. All right, let's see if this will work. Okay. Not exactly the shot that is ideal, but it'll work. So at least I can talk to you. Okay? Yeah, it's just more the fun. Okay. Sometimes things just don't work the way you think they should, so you just punt. All right. So any of you who find paper rustling super annoying, this is not going to be your stream, because yeah, you can think of it as an ASMR moment. Or you can just be annoyed. How's that? Yeah. So anyway, we're going to just finish this up. Finish fusing this. And let's see, what do I have to tell you? It cooled off here, man. Cooled way, way, way off. I don't know what is going on with the weather right now, but I suppose it's supposed to be cool at this point. Okay, let's see if we can get this to cooperate. I can't remember if it was when Race was little or exactly when it was, but it was either Race or one of his friends that used to, or one of my friends' little boys that used to tell things to cooperate. Cooperate. Alright, let's see if we can peel this off without disturbing the fabric too much. Well, this one is just going to be a pain in the neck. Okay, well, the parts that I have fused fabric, or fused the surface of, we're just gonna move on. When you're fusing fabric with fusible web, one of the things you want to have on hand is a good hot iron cleaner. If you don't have a good hot iron cleaner and you have an iron that you care about, yeah, you better have an iron that you dedicate an iron to fusible web issues, or have a good hot iron cleaner so that you can keep your iron available for other things, like for sewing garments, or if any of you iron clothes, which I know not very many people iron clothes. Hello CB, hello Nanette. Alright, let me get some of this off of here. So, are you guys doing things for Christmas already, or no? This is infinitely easier to do in my ironing board than wrestling it on this table with you guys, but you know, how about if we do some absolutely useless facts, since this is kind of useless to watch. Alright, perfectly useless fact. You're almost done Christmas shopping? Oh. Rhonda. Hey, Shaz. Wow, that's nice. Okay, did you know that a banana is considered a berry? And maybe we talked about this before, but I don't remember. A banana is considered a berry. Perfectly useless fact. Do you need to know that for anything in your life? Maybe if you play Trivial Pursuit, you need that information, but I don't know what else you would need it for. Banana is considered a berry. Who knew? Maybe some of you did. Do you know how many bees work their entire lives to accumulate one single teaspoon of honey? Any of you know the answer to that? How many bees it takes to work their whole lives to make a teaspoon of honey? I didn't know it either. Anybody? Anybody know? No, it's not that many. I would have thought that it would take more than it actually takes, to tell you the truth. More than 2, less than 25, and more than 2. There, I've given you a big hint. Woo! Barb is making a terrible mess over here tonight, sticking fusible where it doesn't need to be stuck. Aren't you glad you came to see Barb screw up tonight? What is it people say? This is a stream where you learn how not to do something. Okay. The answer, you ready for the answer? Is 12. 12 bees work their entire life to make a single teaspoon of honey. That's, you know, sometimes you hear things like that and it gives you a new appreciation for something. Gotta appreciate the honeybees. Ooh, my iron is really being a mess here. It's gonna get the good old hot iron cleaner later today. Okay. I know, I was surprised at that too. Like I said, perfectly useless facts. Some of them make you have a bigger appreciation though, don't they? All right, let's give this another. Some of these pieces I could have cut smaller than I did. Would have made life a little bit easier. This one's pretty good. We'll give it a little bit more. You do, with a fusible web, you want to read the instructions on the fusible web, information that comes with it, and follow the directions for the amount of time that you should fuse it. If you don't, it won't fuse to the whatever it is you're doing very well. So one of these applique pressing sheets really does make life quite a bit easier. 98% of people, this is according to Kel, 98% of people open a banana from the stem end, and she said, which is wrong. Why is that, Kel? How is that the wrong end? We're going to cut off this fusible web so I don't stick it right onto the bottom of the iron. Why is that? Why is it considered the wrong end? That's what I want to know, Kel. Okay, moving on. If Kel gives us an answer, that will be excellent. If he doesn't, that's okay too. All right, yet again, I'm going to cut off the part where I slopped fusible web up on the top of it. Next, the largest scrambled eggs ever made weighed how much? Anybody have no idea for that? Now, why does anybody want to make the largest batch of scrambled eggs, and who weighed it? And furthermore, who cares, right? Who cares? My roommate from Long Island, New York would have said, who cares? College roommate. Okay, moving on. Anybody know? I'll give you the answer if you give up. Oh yeah, with an accent. She was very, very strong New York accent. Very strong Long Island. Who cares? She also called a traffic signal a traffic single. Took me a long time to figure out what she was talking about. Traffic single. I don't know if that was her pronunciation, if that was a family pronunciation, or I don't know what that was. Anyway, that's how she always called it. Traffic single. Okay. We might have enough of these pieces fused. I don't have any of the neutrals. We're going to have to fuse a couple of neutral pieces before we can get started. So this is my rendition based on inspiration from the holiday edition of the Somerset Studio magazine. If you have it, as I said earlier, it's made with paper. So if you have lots of paper, Christmas papers or just green and red papers, you can do this with paper. And a lot of times, years ago on Ustream, I did a whole series on paper, making ornaments from paper and also from fabric. And I would show those to you, except I'm not quite sure where they are. Because often you can do the same thing or something similar with paper and fabric. Close enough. Close enough is good enough, right? Close enough is good enough. So we're just going to give this one more shot of heat on these, just to kind of make sure, hopefully, that the fusible is really stuck to the fabric. No, it's way more than that, Linda. It's way more. It is over 1,000 pounds. Now, who weighs this and who eats it and who cares? All questions I want answers for. Over 1,000. Your last project like this was making garlands looped like a chain of hot glue. Huh, interesting. I bet that was pretty, Dar. Dar always makes nice things. You give up? It was 6,860.8 pounds. Yeah, 6,860.8 pounds. Who knew? Who knew? Okay, I'll cut these apart. We'll do 2 or 3 neutral fabrics and then we will see what we can accomplish here. Did you know, now if this isn't a perfectly useless fact, I don't know what is. Did you know that peanut butter, according to this, can be turned into diamonds? No idea what that means. I have no idea how that would be done. I have no idea who would discover such a thing. Maybe it's some nuclear process, thermal reactive process or something. Peanut butter can be turned into diamonds. At least that's what Dr. Google says, and we all know Dr. Google is never wrong. Yeah. Crazy, huh? That is a myth. It was proven on Mythbusters. Well, this person right here, whoever did this online, needs to go back and correct themselves. I like Mythbusters. That's a good show. I was sorry when it went off the air. I don't know if they still doing it somewhere, just not on network TV now. I always liked those guys, especially Adam and whatever the other guy's name was. I forgot his name. Adam and what was the other guy's name on Mythbusters? That is such a tongue twister. Mythbusters. What was his name? Okay. I'll cut out this one more piece of this, then we're going to fuse a couple of neutrals, and then we're going to call it good. And then later tonight, I'm going to be in my sewing room cleaning my iron. Because if I don't, sure as shooting, I'll use it on something that mattered, and I'll put iron glue all over it. That would be terrible. Like tomorrow, I have a lunch to go to, a luncheon, which I probably will have to iron something for. I know. You can feel sorry for me now. Okay, and another next perfectly useless fact. Well, I'm glad you saw that, Cal, because I had no idea. Next, fact that's useless, and it may or may not be a fact. Next one is in 2021. Okay, now this ought to be provable because it's recent enough. In 2021, 3 Frenchmen, Morgan, Niquet, I have no idea how you say that, Niquet, I don't know, Francois, Robin, Julien Seri, apologies to the French, set the record for the most varieties of cheeses on a pizza. They used, all right, you guess how many varieties of cheese on one pizza. And it does not say how big the pizza was. Yeah. Okay, so I think we have these pieces fused. So we're making a stack of green and red, different greens, different reds, pre-fused pieces with the green up here with the green. So we have different little, some are striped, some are just different patterns. Oh no, you're way under. It's way, way, way more. You guys probably saw it because I had it sitting on my desk there. I don't know how many varieties there are. That's a good question too. Okay, let's see if we can fuse a couple of neutral fabrics here without making a bigger mess than I've already got going. Oh, this poor iron. This is my best iron, too. Of course, I did not bother to get out the craft iron. No. No, that would be far too simple to get out the craft iron to do this. It's over 800 varieties or types of cheese. More than 800. See if you can get it from there. It's in the 800s, between 800 and 900. Between 800 and 900. It is 834. 834 varieties of cheese in 2021. So I have no idea if that's accurate. I can only tell you that that's what Dr. Google said in the perfectly useless facts section of whatever site I found. You're welcome. I know each and every one of you are wanting to know this. Okay, I'm going to trim this piece out. And we're going to fuse one more, and then we're going to call this part of this dealio done. So some of these pieces of fabric I had on hand. Most of them I did. But I did go to the quilting store today and I bought, I think it was 8 more small pieces of fabric. Did you know that on good sewing shears, you do have to be a little careful with this, but if your shears get a little goofy and they don't cut real well, you can take your fingers and go make sure that you're pinching the blade. You're not running across the blade, but both sides of the blade like this. You have to be careful, as I said. If you cut yourself, I'm sorry. And that puts enough oil from your hand that it really does restore or help clean your blades a little bit. I don't know, I bet it tasted awful and I don't know why they did it. Speaking of pizza, on average, Americans eat a combined amount of how many acres? Okay, yes, you heard me right. How many acres of pizza, on average, do Americans eat each day? So all Americans, on average, averaging them all together, how many acres of pizza? How do you measure pizza in acres? But anyway, how many acres of pizza? Any takers? Too many. 777 is too many. 1,000 is way too many. 10,000 is way too many. 400 is too many. Guess again. Okay. Let's see if we can do one more. Oh, we might have to do two. Okay, we have to do two. I want to do this one. And this one. And I like this. Warmest wishes. Isn't that neat? $100, Kel, you got it. 100 acres. Now, like I said, I don't have any idea why anybody would measure pizza in acres. I am not responsible for the information I'm giving you. I'm only delivering and repeating. I'm only repeating. Perfectly useless facts. I know some people who I'm sure contributed to that statistic. All right, I'm going to cut this out even though it's not fused. Okay, next. Did you know that honey does not go bad as long as it's stored properly? Now, I would have to disagree with this because honey will sugar. I don't know how you store it to keep it from sugaring. Anybody here know that? How you keep honey from sugaring? Is it possible to keep honey from sugaring? Turning into sugar. And then about the only thing you can do is either soak the container in hot water or microwave it, and you got to be real careful about how long you microwave it. I don't know. Does anybody here have any information on that? Maybe somebody here is way smarter than I am. You keep yours in a cupboard far away from the stove? Huh. In a cupboard? Well, I have mine sitting on the counter, and it, you know, when it has been there long enough, it sugars. How do you keep it from doing that? Honey in your cupboard. You know, I never put it in the refrigerator. Of course, I use a raw honey. I don't know if that makes a difference. You think that makes a difference, that it's raw honey, unprocessed? Suppose that could be part of it. I don't really know. I don't know. Okay, we're gonna get rid of this fusible so I don't like iron it to my desk or something. Something horrible. Manuka and normal. I have some Manuka. My granddaughter brought it back to me from New Zealand when she and her husband, he wasn't her husband then, but they went over and got married in New Zealand. They had a destination wedding just for the two of them, which I thought was great. There were extenuating reasons that just the two of them went. But I encouraged them. I said, I think that's a great idea. Anyway, she brought Manuka honey back for me, which was really sweet. No pun intended. Well, I'm glad to know that some of you don't have trouble with honey sugaring. I'll have to, maybe I need to keep it in a different spot. Okay, let's finish fusing these two from the wrong side, and then let's see if we can make something happen here. A lot of oranges are actually green, this says. So what does that mean? That they dye them? They dye the oranges orange to make them orange? Anybody know the answer to that? What do they do? Spray paint them? I can imagine they might do that. They wanted Claus Man and me to go with them for their wedding. They got married in 2020. They went over in February of 2020 to get married, and darn near didn't make it back before they got back, and I think it was 10 days later, everything was shut down. Fortunately, they got home. They dye them. Okay. There you go. You heard it. You heard it here. You guys know how to clean the bottom of your iron? Would you like to know how to do that? Since mine is just positively awful now, would you like to see how to clean it? Hi, Vanessa. Right at the moment, I'm just fusing fabric, but I'm going to make some Christmas cards. Okay, see this? See how bad that is? Yeah, that's pretty bad. So let me get the stuff, and I'm going to show you how to clean it, whether you ask for it or not. I'll be right back. So there are different ways to clean your iron. This is my cleaning towel, believe it or not. So I just refold it and kind of find a new spot. This is hot iron cleaner. And I squirt it out, and the iron is hot. I won't clean the whole thing. I'll just clean some of it. And just that much. I only worked on the top of it. Cleaned a lot of it off. And then I just refold it, find another spot, squirt out another bunch of it. And then go. You do want to be in a well-ventilated area when you do this. And then the other thing I have is one of those nylon scrubby pads that you can clean Teflon with, because this is a non-stick bottom on this iron. Once it gets almost cool but not totally cool, it's got to be cool enough that it won't melt the pad to the bottom of the iron. Then I use that, and usually I can get the rest of it off. Yeah, it's really a nice product. Anyway, faultless. I'm sorry, I've got a tripod hanging over my monitor, so I can't see exactly what's going on. This is another way that it comes, hot iron cleaner. Anyway, it's pretty effortless to use and does a pretty remarkably good job. So I will finish cleaning that later. Okay, so Chance is complaining. Aren't you surprised? All right, we're going to cut this into some chunks. What I have is a piece of 90-pound watercolor paper. That's what this is down here. I have some Paper Studio cards and envelopes. These are neutral colors, as in off-white is what this is. I was hoping to get a variety pack of these cards, you know, that were different colors of neutral, but that was not to be the case. And these measure 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So it's just your standard little, oh, these aren't even the ones that fold. Swift, they're flat. Oh well, that's okay. No big deal. And so it's a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. No wonder they were inexpensive. That's what you get for not reading the package. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this background. We're going to cut it exactly the size of that, and that gives me room then to cut it down to make the so I can trim it up later. So 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Or we're just going to do a 4 1/4 strip all the way along. How's that? If I can measure, except I didn't, I cut it 5 1/4. That's okay, we'll have a little extra to cut off. It is not my day, folks. It is not my day. And I've had such a great day today. Yep. It's been a really good day today until I came in here to stream, and then everything's kind of gone. What is it? Race's expression is ass over tea kettle. I don't know. Anyway, part of it is my head is still a bit congested, so I'm still not thinking quite as clearly as I should be. That's all right. Okay, so let's go 5 1/2. So I cut this an inch too wide, right? Let me see. Maybe we can go the opposite way. It's not quite what I want. That's okay. That's all right. We're just going to cut it in 5 1/2. We're just going to cut it, and then we'll make the things and we'll trim them down to whatever we want it to be in the end. It's always better to have extra to trim it down than to cut it too small to begin with. I may cut it down just a little bit more anyway. My cutter is dull. What is going on here tonight, you guys? What is going on here tonight? My rotary cutter is dull. One more. we're going to make some of this happen tonight, one way or another. So just for the purposes of making this yep, all right, I did get 5.5. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and cut these down just so it will give us the rectangle that I was hoping for in the beginning when I didn't measure properly. Sometimes math and I are not friends. This is 4¼ or 90-pound watercolor paper I bought at Hobby Lobby for $1.99 for a sheet that's 22 by 30. That is a pretty good. That's pretty good bang for your buck. And so $1.99 for the sheet. The worst part about buying those sheets is you got to get home with it. Without cutting it, folding it, wrinkling it, what have you. Okay, so we're just going to take this. We will eventually cut this down. We're going to see how this works. Here we go. All right, next. Pound cake originally included a pound of each of what ingredients? There are 4 ingredients. Originally included 1 pound of each of 4 ingredients. While you ponder that, and some of you may already know it off the top of your head, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just take a variety of these pre-fused fabrics, and if I really wanted to get real picky about this, I would cut them with a rotary cutter and a ruler, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just simply trim them. And the reason I'm cutting around the edges of these is that I want the fusible to have a clean cut at the edge. It's kind of like when you work with polymer clay. They continually cut the cane. If they're working on whatever they're working on, they will cut so they have a clean cut. You want to do that when you're working with fusible web too, because that way you're sure that the fusible goes all the way to the edges. Okay, so we're just gonna, so we'll give ourselves a nice clean cut to start with, and then, so I'm doing on purpose a variety of rectangles and or squares. So what you could do is you could actually, if I could cut all the way across, it would be very helpful. What you could do is take your rotary cutter and ruler, and you could pre-cut your shapes into various increments, you know, 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch, that kind of thing, so that you had them where there was a, yes, words are hard to come by sometimes, so that they were easily, you could match them up easily with you could fit the puzzle pieces together easily. I don't know, words. I think I'd been smoking something. I have not. I don't smoke. All right. So we're just gonna cut a few of these. clean edges because we want the fusible to go all the way to the edge. Okay, I'm going to cut off that. That is a salvage edge. And so we'll cut a nice piece of that. And then let's do a nice piece of, well, let's put a striped one on here just because we can. Then, if we need to, we will puzzle in some additional pieces, okay? So let's do a piece like this. Okay. All right, did you guys get it? Shaz says flour, butter, sugar, milk. This is flour, eggs, butter, sugar. That's what it says. Pound of each of those. Flour, eggs, butter, and sugar. Captain Crunch's full name is what? Oh, that's a good one for you guys. Captain Crunch's full name. Did you know Captain Crunch had a full name? Captain Crunch from the cereal Captain Crunch. He has a whole name. Do you know what it is? This is good trivia. All right, let's see if I can get the back off of this fusible web. Oh yes, good job. It peeled right off. Okay, so I'm going to stick this on this piece of watercolor paper. I'm using watercolor paper because it is thick but not too thick. You can tell if you have not fused very well, you haven't gotten the fusible on the fabric very well if the paper doesn't peel off well. Then you know that you have not fused it down usually long enough, or let it cool. You do need to let fusible web cool. And I'm going to scoot these in from the edge just a little bit, again, so I don't iron it down to my surface if possible. But the paper should, if the product has been fused down properly or well, you should be able to peel that paper right off. If you use Steam-A-Seam 2, it is, once you fuse it to one side of the fabric, it is a pressure sensitive glue that is left behind, and so when you put it down on your surface like this, it actually will stick. Just a temporary stick. Okay. Horatio Magellan Crunch. Let's see. You're right, Captain Horatio Magellan Crunch. You're right. Who got that? Connie got it? All right, next up. What kind of chocolate can help lower blood pressure? According to this. I'm not a big chocolate person, so I don't really care because it's not my favorite. I like it once in a while, but you guys probably all know this. I don't know how much I believe it, but if Google said it was true, it's probably got research somewhere, huh? Dark chocolate. Yep, that's what it says. I especially don't like dark chocolate. If I'm going to eat chocolate, it's going to be bittersweet or milk chocolate. I really am not a dark chocolate person. Not a fan. Some people really love it. Not my thing. All right, let's put this, let's do a strip of this up here. Seriously, where did the pen just go? I just had it. Here it is. All right, next up. Salt was once used as what? Anybody know how valuable salt used to be? It was once used as something very important. Very importante. Anybody know? If these get a little wonky, it's okay. All right? It is okay if they're a little wonky here and there. Alright, I'm just going to peel the backing off of this completely. Preserved it. It was used as money. Yep, it was used as money. It was used for a lot of other things, but it was used as money. Currency. A third of the calories in broccoli come from what nutrient? I did not know this. I did not know this. See if you guys know it. A third of the calories. Not carbs. It's a different nutrient. Good guess, though. Good guess. All right, let's do this up here. Now it's fat, protein, or carbs. Which one is that? Which one would it be? Which one do you think it would be? When you're working with stuff like this, it's helpful also to use a glue stick to kind of, if you're not using Steam-A-Seam 2, it's helpful to use a glue stick to just kind of position things. I'm clearly not doing that, but it is helpful if you do. If you would use it, it is helpful for that. And for a scale difference, we're going to use this big check. Protein, correct. According to this information. I keep saying that because I don't want anybody thinking that I know what I'm talking about, because I don't. I do not know what I'm talking about. All right, we're going to take this piece. All right, I'm going to give up and use the glue stick because things are squirreling around too much for me. I know you're so glad you came tonight to get to see this, which really is a cool process. It's just I've not done a good job showing you how to do it. You know, not every day's a super successful day, and that is okay, you know? It's okay. All right, we're getting there. I'm going to use this, and I'm going to put this piece stick it here. And then let's put one more little piece of stocking. Next up, strawberries are not technically considered berries. All right, somebody look that up and find out what they are, because I didn't know that. What are they considered? If strawberries are not technically considered a berry, what is it? Anybody here with a degree in vegetables and fruits to enlighten us? All right, so we now have enough of this covered that we can go ahead and fuse it. Okay? Okay, let's do it. Let's do it and see how it comes out. We have enough of it covered. So now what I'm going to use is I'm going to use a press cloth. Bananas are berries, strawberries are fruit. Okay, there you go. And now it is fused to the card base. I intended to buy folded cards, but I didn't buy folded cards. I bought single cards. And so this is when you go, okay, then you make lemonades out of the almost lemon, but not quite. And then this is my base. This is the watercolor paper. So I want this to be just tiny bit smaller than my card. So I'm going to cut it to 4 inches by, I think it's 5 1/4, right? Yeah, we're going to cut it 4 inches by 5 1/4 is what we're going to do. So the first thing we're going to do is give it a clean cut. Well, we're going to make it smaller than that. We're going to make it 5 by 3 3/4 is what we're going to do. All right, I think that's what we're going to do. We'll find out. We may have to back it with another piece of cardstock to make it the right size. Okay, we're just going to give it a clean cut. We're going to give this side a nice clean cut, hopefully. All right, let's go 3 3/4. Yeah, that's what we're going to do on this one. And we're going to go by 5. Okay. Oh, and we have a little piece here that doesn't have anything, so we're going to have to fuse something on top of that because we have a little vacant space. Of course we do, because you know that's kind of how things are going here tonight. All right, so I'm going to fuse that little bit in place, and then I will cut it off. Because they're derived from a single flower with more than one ovary, making them an aggregate fruit. There you go. Well, I did not know that, so I have learned something today, which makes it a very good day. I love learning new things. I truly do. So that's good. All right. So we now have this piece, which has been pieced all the way around fairly well, and we have this background for it. And probably what I will do, if I have any cardstock in here without having to go in where chance is colored cardstock, I don't think I have any black out here, but probably what I'll do is cut a black background or dark green, and I will put around the outside of that. Okay, and then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take, let's see, what do I have in neutrals? We're going to take a piece of this pretty stuff, and I still have some of the fusible web out here. I know, aren't you excited? We're gonna fuse again. I know, you're so excited about this. Me too. Me too. It's okay, we can do it. We're gonna take just a piece of this white and gold fabric. Put the fusible web on the back of it. And just to make life a little easier for myself, I'm going to cut it down to start with. Then we'll fuse it. Alright, I'm going to use this press cloth on the top of this because I don't know if this metallic, it was fabric from a quilt store, so it should be a good quality fabric, but once in a while metallics are kind of funny. So we're going to fuse it. All right, next up on our useless facts. Do you know where Caesar salad originated? What country and city? Where did it originate? Anybody know? Where Caesar salad originated. Okay, so we have this fused, and now what I'm going to do is I want a circle that will fit on this. So I just want a circle that's going to fit on this card, on this little background thing. So what do I have around here that I can draw a circle around that will fit on that? Will this fit on there? It's a little too big. Oh, you guys, surely I have something that's a circle around here that's a reasonable size. Oh dear, let's see. Good enough. Okay, we're going to use this. All of this to make one card tonight. No, it wasn't Rome. According to this, it wasn't Rome. It was someplace you wouldn't expect it. Now, that may be absolutely correct, Kelly. That may be absolutely correct. That is not what it says on my sheet of useless facts, which, as we have determined, are entirely useless. Okay. So now we're going to decide if we want this going this way or this way. This way. I think kind of like that is good. And we're going to use the pen and take off the paper backing. Hopefully it fused well. I'm going to read to you what this says. It says that Caesar salad originated in the Mexican city of Tijuana. I don't know if that's correct or not. Anybody know? Now, this is probably going to show through, but we don't care really. I'm going to put this just kind of eyeballing it. Got me. I don't know. That's just what it says. Okay, pistachios, cashews, and almonds are closer to fruits than they are to nuts. They are classified as, do you know what they're classified as? It's a funny name. Okay, we have a circle fused on to our background. And now I'm going to run in the other room where Chance is. So he's going to come streaking out here. They are classified as drupes, D-R-U-P-E-S, which are fruits that are fleshy on the outside and contain a shell covering a seed on the inside. All right, I'll be right back. What are you doing? All right, this is a piece of cotton lame, Quilter's cotton lame, which I love this stuff. I love using this stuff. I don't need, again, it's one of those supplies I've had in my stash for a very long time. I have no idea if you can still get this. If you can't, somebody should bring it back. I bought it in every color that I could get it in, and I have used it and used it and used it because it does not disintegrate the way lame does. The cheap stuff, like costume lame, disintegrates. This stuff doesn't. With the heat, it doesn't turn into a little wrinkly mess. So once again, I'm going to put some fusible on the back of it. They're drupes, D-R-U-P-E-S, and it says, which are fruits that are fleshy on the outside that contain a shell covering seed on the inside. I don't know. I just deliver the information. I just deliver the information that's on my sheet. Okay. Whew, that's hot. That is a hot piece of... That's a hot thing right there. It's a hot piece of something. Fused fabric. Okay, I'm going to get rid of the fusible web from around the edges just so that I can get rid of that. That way I don't have any of that to deal with. And I'm going to fuse it one more time just to make sure that the fusible is really on there. Oh, the fabric. Oh, sorry. The fabric is called Quilter's Cotton Lame. That's what it is. So it is actually, it's cotton and metallic, and it's a really nice fabric. It machine stitches beautifully. Okay, so I've just drawn a little ornament topper. And then we're going to shape it, sort of. Like so. You guys are not used to seeing me work in this much of a mess. I'll get rid of a little bit of it by zooming in. Not because it's gone away, just because I got rid of it by zooming in the camera. If you have all the pieces and parts of this kind of thing pre-done, then you can make this kind of stuff pretty easily. All right, let's go this way. Okay, like so. All right, and then let's take, where did my gold fabric go? I don't know what it must have gone off on the floor somewhere, or else it's sticking to me. All right, I was going to use gold for the string, but instead we're going to use this. We're going to use this little, let's see, which one of these is going to be, we'll use this one right over here in the end. See if we can get the paper backing off. Good job. And then we're going to put this. I don't know if that's going to, yeah, that's going to work okay. That's going to show up well enough. Okay. So none of this is going to involve machine stitching. Although you could easily come back with machine stitching, or you could use like stickles. If you have stickles, a glitter glue, and you could put a line of stickles around the outside edge of the ornament to make it show up a little bit more. But be careful, stickles takes a while to dry, and so it's a glitter glue. And so you would want to, if you put that around the outside edge of this, and you're going to want to really let it dry before you do anything else. But that would be a good thing you could do for that. So here's our little ornament hanging on from whatever up here, and this then will go onto this, and I'll put a colored cardstock of some sort just to frame it a little bit more in the background. And then what did we have on one of these pieces of fabric? It had words on it. Let's see if I can unearth it in this mess I've got going on over here. Maybe I didn't fuse that piece. Well, we can take one of these. So we can just take one of these. And I don't like that. Let's do something else. We'll do this one instead. So this piece of fabric is fused with the fusible web on the back of it. Chance. And then add a little sentiment to it. You know, you could let it, I like things being kind of asymmetrical. You could always add it onto the ornament somewhere, but I like it just kind of doing something that you don't really expect necessarily. If you're going to make it yourself, make it unique. Otherwise, you can just go buy something, you know, that looks manufactured, which I don't want to do. So this is what I'm going to do instead. Chance is now helping me walk on top of everything. He's so helpful, you guys. He is so helpful. Okay. Yeah, he's rubbing his head all over everything and waiting to see if he can, what he can do to get in trouble. There you go. So if you, theoretically, here's the other thing you can do with this, which is, oh, here's the gold. Of course, I find it after I don't need it. The other thing you can do, which is actually better than, oh, sorry, looking at the wrong camera. The thing you can do on this kind of stuff, instead of piecing them one at a time like this, take a bigger piece of the watercolor paper. I would cut it down into like a quarter of the sheet. Take all these fusible fabrics and fuse a much bigger piece of it. So you're making, in effect, a master board or a master sheet. So it's all pieced, but use bigger pieces. The advantage to doing it this way is you can use the smaller pieces so you can get more pieces in the background. If you use bigger pieces of fabric to cover the, say, a quarter sheet of the watercolor paper, then you can always layer on top of it smaller pieces when you cut down for the card to make your base of your card. So you can do that. And then you can put trees on it. That's what they used in Somerset Studio, but theirs was all done with paper. This is all fabric. You could make trees, just a simple shape for your focal image on it. You could use a stamped sentiment done in, stamped on cardstock and layer that on top of it. I mean, you could do, it's kind of like whatever you want to do, right? It's just the sky is the limit. This is just a way to kind of give you something to think about. So, and then of course you can take your card after you've got it done like this. You could take this, even at this stage, you could take this and take it to your printer, your color printer or scanner, scan it in, copy it. Now when it prints out, when you print it out in the next rendition, it's not going to have the same exact look of this, but it's going to be similar, and so you can do all your work once or twice on cards like this and then print them, scan, save it, adjust it in Photoshop if you need to, then print them out on cardstock and then cut them up, and you've done the work once. And then you can do something to make them more individualized, so you can do that. So there's lots of things you can do to make them your own. But anyway, I know I did kind of a clumsy job of going through this tonight, but anyway, you kind of get the idea, I think. So thanks, Shaz. Okay, so that's going to be it. As I said, I will not be back here on Friday. I will be here next Monday night. So I will see you then. And I hope that you guys have a great weekend. Chance is about to wear me out and drive me crazy. I love him, but he is one obnoxious cat sometimes. He really is. I love him, but boy, he drives me crazy sometimes. Tonight's one of those nights. So I'm going to let you guys go so I can get away from him for a little while so I don't do bodily harm to him, which I would never do, but I do occasionally go, Chance, if you don't shut up. Anyway, do something nice for somebody else. Be kind to somebody, just be kind to them. Thank you for being kind to me tonight. Thank you for being here, and I hope you guys have a really good rest of your week. So until next time, remember to get creative today because you know it's easy, and I will see you before you know it. Okay? Bye, everybody.